Welcome to Book Bites from the Pizza Prosperous Life PPL channel.
Great to be here.
In this deep dive, we're kicking off the first of 3 parts dedicated to Atomic Habits by James Clear.
A really fascinating book.
Yeah, it's a powerful guide to building better habits, breaking bad ones, and mastering those tiny behaviors that lead to really remarkable results.
Absolutely.
Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's unpack this right from the top. When we hear atomic, our minds might jump to something incredibly small, right?
Yeah, like the smallest possible particle.
Exactly. The single, irreducible unit of a larger system. But, what James Clear reminds us is that atomic also means the source of immense energy or power. And that's exactly what he means by atomic habits. Those tiny, seemingly insignificant changes that, when they compound, can unleash incredible power in your life.
It's a really compelling idea, yeah. And what's
Right.
fascinating is how clearly we see this concept play out in the real world.
Everywhere.
Well, think about the remarkable transformation of the British cycling team. This was underperformance director Dave Brailsford, starting back in 2003.
Right. I remember reading about this. They weren't exactly world beaters before him, were they?
Not at all. Fairly unremarkable, actually. But they went on to dominate the sport, and not through some single grand strategy, but through what he called marginal gains.
Marginal gains. I'm always intrigued by that idea. We're talking about finding a 1% improvement in everything they did, right?
Everything. It's almost obsessive when you hear the details.
Like testing different massage gels for faster muscle recovery, or hiring a surgeon to teach riders the absolute best way to wash their hands to avoid colds. That one always gets me.
Yeah, and finding the optimal pillows and mattresses for each rider's sleep.
And didn't they paint the inside of the team truck white?
They did. To spot tiny bits of dust that could affect bike performance. It sounds almost, well, pedantic.
It really does.
Yeah.
But the results.
Well, the accumulation of those small efforts had anything but a small impact. Just 5 years after Brailsford took over, the British cycling team completely dominated the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing.
That was stunning. How much did they win?
An astounding 60% of the available gold medals in road and track cycling. 60%.
Wow.
And that success wasn't a fluke, it continued, leading to multiple Tour de France victories. It's widely regarded as, the most successful run in cycling history.
The sheer scale of those results really makes you pause. So what does this compounding effect mean for us, beyond elite sports?
Well, it means the math of compounding isn't just for financial investments, it applies to habits too.
Okay.
If you can get just 1% better at something each day for a year, you end up nearly 37 times better than when you started.
37 times better. That's huge from just 1% a day.
It is, but flip that around. If you get 1% worse each day,
Oh, I dread to think.
you practically end up at zero. The math works out to 0.03. So it's truly a double-edged sword. Small habits can build you up or
Break you down.
This brings up the critical point about how we often perceive progress or the lack of it sometimes.
How so?
Imagine you're flying from Los Angeles to New York City. If the pilot adjusts the heading just 3.5 degrees south at takeoff.
Okay, a tiny shift. You wouldn't even feel it.
Exactly. You won't notice it immediately, but stretch that out across the entire United States. That small, almost imperceptible shift means you land in Washington, D.C., hundreds of miles away.
Wow. A tiny change in the beginning, a vastly different destination in the end.
Precisely.
And that's exactly how our habits steer our lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your outcomes, whether it's your net worth, your weight, the knowledge you accumulate.
Even the clutter in your home.
Right. These are all lagging measures of your habits. They're the results you see after consistently performing certain actions.
So your current trajectory actually matters far more than your current results. It's about the direction you're headed.
The direction, not just the position. I like that.
Exactly. But this journey isn't always a smooth upward curve. You'll often encounter what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment.
Ah, the valley of disappointment. Yes, this is a concept I think so many of us can relate to.
Definitely.
That feeling of putting in effort day after day and seeing,
Yeah.
well, nothing. No immediate payoff.
It's frustrating.
He uses the ice cube analogy, which I thought was great. The temperature in the room might rise gradually, say from 25 to 31 degrees Fahrenheit.
Uh-huh. It's still below freezing.
Right. But the ice cube doesn't melt. You might think nothing's happening, your efforts are pointless. Then suddenly, at 32 degrees,
Boom! The critical threshold is crossed.
and it starts to melt rapidly. Or consider a bamboo plant.
Oh, yeah, the bamboo.
It's barely visible for 5 years while it builds this huge root system underground.
You see nothing above ground.
Exactly. And then, almost overnight, it explodes 90 feet into the air in just 6 weeks.
Incredible growth, but only after years of unseen preparation.
And habits are like that, and they often appear to make no difference until that critical threshold is crossed.
The powerful insight here is to trust the process, isn't it? Even when you see no immediate results.
Yeah. That invisible effort is building momentum towards a breakthrough. Don't get discouraged in the valley. That's often where the real work of habit formation happens, just before the explosion of progress.
That's a powerful way to look at it, and it highlights why focusing solely on goals can be, well, problematic sometimes.
How so? Goals seem like the obvious thing to focus on.
They do, but think about it. Firstly, goals can actually restrict happiness. They implicitly say, once I achieve this, then I'll be happy.
Right, postponing joy until some future achievement. I see that.
Secondly, goals can be at odds with long-term progress. Think of a runner who trains for months, crosses the finish line of a marathon.
Goal achieved. Celebration time.
Right. But then, after achieving their goal, they stop running entirely. The goal is achieved, but the system for sustained running often collapses. It's that yo-yo effect.
Ah, okay. So the truly powerful idea, the one that really resonated with me from the book, is this. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
That's the quote. It's fundamental.
Atomic habits, then, aren't just small habits. They are the fundamental building blocks of remarkable results. They're the units that contribute to a larger, more powerful, and crucially sustainable system.
Exactly. The system is what delivers the results long term.
So we've talked about the incredible power of small changes and why systems trump goals. But for these changes to truly stick, they need to resonate with something much deeper within us. And that's your very sense of self, your identity. Let's explore how your habits and your identity are in this powerful mutual feedback loop.
Yeah, this is a key part of the book.
He introduces 3 layers of behavior change.
Yeah.
The outcome, what you get, the process, what you do, and the deepest layer.
Identity change. What you believe about yourself.
Right, identity.
And what's truly transformative here is the argument that the most effective way to change habits isn't just to focus on the outcome or the process.
Like, I want to lose weight or I want to run a marathon.
Exactly. But instead, focus on who you wish to become. Your identity acts as the North Star for habit change, guiding every action.
Okay, give me an example. How does that work in practice?
Well, there's a compelling example in the book about Brian Clark, an entrepreneur.
Okay.
He desperately wanted to stop chewing his nails. He'd tried everything, apparently, but nothing stuck.
A common frustrating habit.
Right. The breakthrough came when he shifted his focus from, I want to stop chewing my nails, that's outcome focused, to something different, to, I am the type of person who takes pride in properly caring for their nails. That's identity focus.
Ah, subtle but powerful shift.
Very. Once that became part of his identity, the habit of not chewing his nails simply became easy, almost automatic, because it aligned with who he saw himself as.
That's the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation, isn't it? When a habit becomes part of who you are.
Exactly. It really highlights that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
A vote. I like that framing.
Yeah. No single vote transforms your beliefs instantly, of course. But as those votes build up over time, day after day, they create compelling evidence for your new identity.
So you're basically building a case for yourself, to yourself.
You are. You're building a system of belief that truly supports the person you want to be.
So understanding this profound connection between identity and habits, that leads us directly into the practical side, right?
Right.
How do we actually build these better habits?
It starts with recognizing what a habit actually is at its core.
Okay, what's the definition he uses?
Simply put, a habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic.
Automatic, like you don't have to think about it.
Exactly. It's your brain's elegant solution for solving life's recurring problems with minimal energy and effort.
And at the core of all human behavior, including habits, is a fundamental feedback loop. He breaks it down into 4 parts.
Yes. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Cue, craving, response. Reward. Okay. He uses Thorndike's cats, right?
Yeah, the classic puzzle box experiment. The cats initially explore chaotically, but once they figure out how to escape and get the food reward...
The response becomes efficient.
Yeah.
Automatic.
Precisely. That loop gets wired in. And that's a great example because it illustrates how habits like these reduce cognitive load.
Meaning they free up brain power.
Yes. This frees up our mental capacity, allowing our brains to focus on new challenges and master complex problems rather than constantly making conscious decisions about simple, everyday tasks.
So habits actually create freedom. That's counterintuitive for some people.
It really is. But think about it. Good financial habits, good health habits, good learning habits, they automate the basics so you can tackle bigger things.
Okay, so this feedback loop, cue, craving, response, reward, that forms the basis for the book's practical framework.
It does. The 4 laws of behavior change. To build a good habit, you need to make changes to each step of that loop.
And the 4 laws are:
1, make it obvious, which relates to the cue. 2, make it attractive for the craving. 3, make it easy for the response. And 4, make it satisfying for the reward.
make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. Okay, let's dive into that first law then. Make it obvious.
Right. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate.
That's a Carl Jung quote, isn't it? Heavy hitter.
It is. And it really underscores the essential need for awareness when it comes to our habits. So many of our actions are so deeply ingrained, we don't even notice them happening. They're just automatic.
It's incredible how our brains operate on these unconscious patterns. He gives examples, right? Like experienced paramedics.
Yeah, they can often spot the early signs of a heart attack just by looking at someone's face. No conscious checklist, just pattern recognition.
Or military analysts distinguishing an enemy missile from their own fleet's planes on radar, even if they look identical to an untrained eye.
Museum curators spotting a forgery, radiologists predicting a stroke. Their brains have learned to recognize subtle cues without conscious thought.
Okay, so if our bad habits are often unconscious, how do we make them obvious?
Well, that's precisely why a practical tool like the habit scorecard is so valuable.
The scorecard. What is that?
It's a simple exercise, really. You just list out all your daily actions, from waking up, brushing your teeth, checking your phone, grabbing coffee.
Everything.
Pretty much everything you do routinely.
Ugh.
And then you mark each one as good, plus bad, or neutral, based on whether it helps you become the person you want to be.
Okay, so it forces you to actually see what you're doing.
Exactly. The purpose isn't to judge yourself, not initially anyway, but to simply observe, to bring those unconscious actions into the light.
That non-judgmental observation feels important. It reminds me of that pointing and calling system used in the Japanese railway.
Ah, yes. That's a fantastic real-world example of making things obvious.
Where the conductors literally point at signals and call out commands aloud like, signal is green or all clear.
It seems redundant, doesn't it? But the safety record improvement is astonishing.
Yeah, he says it reduces errors by a staggering 85% and accidents by 30%, just by making the automatic conscious.
It forces a pause, a moment of awareness.
My wife actually does something similar. Before trips, she'll verbally call out, I've got my keys, I've got my glasses, I've got my husband.
Huh. Does it work?
Honestly, it used to drive me a bit crazy, but seeing the Japanese railway example, I totally get it now.
Yeah.
It forces a higher level of awareness on otherwise automatic actions.
It does. It's effective because human beings are overwhelmingly visual creatures.
How visual.
Well, estimates suggest around 10 million of our 11 million sensory receptors are dedicated to sight.
Wow, that's almost everything.
So if we step back for a moment, visual cues are the greatest catalyst of our behavior. As James Clear puts it, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior.
The invisible hand. Okay, so to make good habits obvious, you need to tweak the environment, make the cues visible.
Precisely. Strategically design your surroundings.
Like in that Dutch electrical meter study.
Yeah, where homes with the meters placed visibly in the main hallway used 30% less energy. Just seeing the dial spinning made people more conscious.
Or the famous fly sticker in the urinals at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam.
Classic example. It gave men something to aim at. Drastically reduced spillage and cleaning costs. A tiny visual cue, a big behavior change.
And my own experience confirms this. I used to buy apples, put them in the crisper drawer.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And I'd forget about them. Now I put them in a nice display bowl right in the middle of the kitchen counter. And almost like magic, I eat a few every day.
Perfect example. Make the cue for the good habit impossible to miss.
So other examples could be placing your medication bottle right next to the faucet you use every morning.
Yep. Or if you want to practice guitar more, don't keep it in the case in the closet. Leave your guitar on a stand in the middle of the living room.
Make the cue unavoidable. I get it. But this raises an important question about context. habits become associated not just with a single trigger, but with the entire environment, right?
Absolutely. The context matters hugely.
So he suggests it's often easier to build new habits in a new environment.
It can be, yes, because you don't have to fight against old cues. Or you can redesign your current environment by dedicating specific spaces for specific habits.
Like the couch is for relaxing, the desk is for working.
Your bed is only for sleeping, ideally. This helps strengthen the association between the context and the habit. Your brain learns. This is the place where this happens.
For someone feeling stuck in an environment they can't easily change, though, what's a practical first step to apply this idea? Like if you can't just move house or redesign your office.
A great first step is simply to declutter and organize the space you do have. A chaotic environment sends chaotic cues, lots of competing signals.
So tidying up isn't just about aesthetics.
Not at all. By simplifying your space, you reduce those competing cues and make the cues for your desired habits stand out more clearly.
Okay. And this leads us naturally to the flip side, right? For breaking bad habits.
Exactly. The inversion of the first law. Make it invisible.
Make the cues for your bad habits invisible.
Yes. And the Vietnam War heroin study is a really striking illustration of this.
Tell us about that.
Well, during the war, a significant percentage of U.S. soldiers, maybe 20%, became addicted to heroin over there. A huge concern.
Right. People were worried about a massive addiction crisis when they returned home.
They were, but something remarkable happened. When the addicted soldiers returned home, around 90% of them recovered rapidly and didn't become re-addicted.
90% just stopped.
Yeah.
That seems unbelievable compared to typical relapse rates.
It does, and the key reason. Their environment changed so drastically. They were removed from all the cues, the triggers, the stresses, the social context associated with their addiction in Vietnam.
Wow. So the cues just vanished.
Compare that with those who return to the same environment after typical rehab programs back home. The relapse rate there is often as high as 90%. The old cues are still there.
So it's not primarily about willpower, is it? It's fundamentally about removing the triggers. That's a massive takeaway.
It really is. Willpower is finite. Environment is persistent.
So practical examples of making bad cues invisible. If your phone distracts you, leave it in another room for a few hours while you work.
Yep. Simple but effective.
If scrolling social media makes you feel inadequate, maybe unfollow those accounts that trigger comparison or envy.
Good one. Prune your digital environment.
Move the TV out of your bedroom if you want to sleep better or read more.
All great examples. It's remarkable how effective these simple changes in your environment can be.
So the takeaway is, self-control is a short-term strategy at best.
It is. It's tiring. Optimizing your environment by making bad habit cues invisible is the long-term secret. It's simply easier to avoid temptation than to resist it repeatedly.
Okay, that covers make it obvious and its inversion. Let's move on to the second law, make it attractive.
Right. This taps into the craving part of the habit loop.
And this starts with something he calls supernormal stimuli. What's that about? He uses an example with birds.
Yeah, Nico Tinbergen's Nobel Prize-winning work with herring gulls. He found that newly hatched chicks would peck at a red dot on their parents' beak to get food.
Okay, natural instinct.
But then Tinbergen presented them with a fake beak, just a stick with 3 red dots, and the chicks went crazy for it, pecking at it even more intensely than their actual mother's beak.
So it's like an exaggerated, more intense version of the real thing.
Yeah.
A super stimulus.
Exactly. An idealized version that triggers the instinct even more strongly.
And the broader implication here is
that modern society is absolutely filled with such engineered, supernormal stimuli.
Oh, I can see where this is going, like food.
Definitely. Hyper-palatable processed foods engineered with just the right combination of sugar, salt, and fat. They're often far more attractive to our brains than natural whole foods.
And social media. Those likes and notifications.
Perfect example. Social media delivers more likes, more novelty, more social validation in minutes than you might naturally get all day. It's highly engineered to be attractive.
Online content, advertisements, they're all designed to grab and hold our attention, often better than reality does.
Precisely. We have the brains of our ancestors, designed for a world of scarcity, but we're facing temptations they never had to contend with. These things are designed to be irresistible.
That sounds like a dopamine-driven feedback loop at work. The book talks a lot about dopamine, but maybe not in the way people usually think about it, right? It's not just about pleasure.
Exactly. Many people equate dopamine with the pleasure of reward, but its role is more nuanced. It's heavily involved in motivation and craving.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, the book cites James Olds and Peter Milner's classic 1954 rat experiment. They found that blocking dopamine release didn't just reduce pleasure, it made rats lose all will to live.
Wow.
They wouldn't eat, wouldn't mate, didn't crave anything. It highlighted dopamine's central role in driving desire, the wanting, not just the liking.
So dopamine gets you moving before you get the reward.
Yes, and this is crucial. Dopamine is released not just when you receive a reward, but often even more powerfully when you anticipate it.
Ah, the anticipation. This part is particularly fascinating. He says the anticipation of an experience can often feel better than the actual attainment of it.
Right, like thinking about Christmas morning as a child versus actually opening the gifts, or daydreaming about a vacation versus actually being on it sometimes.
The buildup is often the best part.
The greater the anticipation, the greater the dopamine spike, and that's what truly motivates you to act. The expectation of a rewarding experience is what gets us off the couch.
Okay, so if we want to build good habits, we need to somehow make the anticipation of doing them more attractive.
That's the key. We need to find ways to make them feel exciting and rewarding before we even start.
And one brilliant way to do this is through something called temptation bundling. Sounds intriguing.
It's a really clever strategy. This is where you pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Okay, like combining pleasure with duty.
Exactly. He shares the story of Ronan Martin, an electrical engineering student in Dublin. He loved watching Netflix,
Relatable.
but knew he needed to exercise more. So what did he do?
He combined them somehow.
Ingeniously. He hacked his stationary bike and connected it to his laptop. Netflix would only play if he was cycling at a certain minimum speed.
No way. So if he slowed down,
Netflix paused. He literally bundled the temptation Netflix with the habit he needed to build exercise.
that is brilliant. It really shows how you can design your environment or your technology to force the desired behavior by linking it to something you already crave.
It's a perfect application, and businesses do this on a large scale too. Think about ABC's TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday programming block.
Oh yeah, with Shonda Rhimes shows like Scandal and Grey's Anatomy.
Exactly. They bundled multiple hit shows together, creating an attractive package that kept viewers glued to the network for the whole evening. They bundled the temptation.
This leverages a psychological principle, doesn't it? Premax principle.
That's right. Premax principle, which simply put means that more probable behaviors, things you like doing, will reinforce less probable behaviors, things you need to do but maybe don't enjoy as much.
So you use the fun thing to pull the necessary thing along.
Exactly. The formula James Clear gives is simple. After habit I need, I will habit I want.
Like, after I fold the laundry, I will watch my favorite show. Or, after I answer my emails, I will check social media.
Precisely. You link the chore to the reward.
So that's how you made habits personally attractive through bundling.
Yeah.
But what about the social angle? He talks about the seductive pull of social norms. We're fundamentally social creatures, right?
Absolutely. We are, as he says, herd animals. We have this deep-seated desire to fit in, to bond with others, and to earn the approval and respect of our tribe. And we do that largely by imitating others.
And he says we imitate three groups in particular.
Yes. The close, the many, and the powerful.
Okay, let's break those down. First, the close, our family and friends.
Exactly. We soak up the habits and qualities of those we spend the most time with, often unconsciously. Studies have shown things like the spread of obesity within social networks.
Right, if your friends gain weight, you're more likely to.
Or that small MIT robotics class where 4 out of 10 students went on to become astronauts. Being around high achievers influenced them.
And there was an IQ study, too.
Yeah, finding that the higher your best friend's IQ was at age 11 or 12, the higher your own IQ was likely to be at 15, even accounting for initial scores. We really absorb the norms of our immediate circle.
So the takeaway is, choose your friends wisely, or join groups where your desired behaviors are the norm.
That's a big part of it. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have.
Okay, second group, the many. The broader tribe, society's norms.
Yes. And Solomon Ash's famous conformity experiment from the 1950s demonstrates this powerfully.
The one with the lines.
That's the one. Subjects were asked to judge line length, a simple task. But they were in a room with actors who were instructed to give obviously incorrect answers.
And what happened?
Astoundingly, nearly 75% of the actual subjects conformed to the incorrect group answer at least once, even when their own eyes told them it was wrong.
Wow. Just to fit in.
There's tremendous internal pressure to comply with the group, to not stick out. We want to be accepted by the tribe.
And the third group, The powerful. We copy people with status.
We do. We imitate those we admire, those who have achieved success or prestige. Think about how businesses copy successful marketing strategies or how kids imitate star athletes.
Or even how you might instinctively clean up when you know an important guest, like a parent or boss, is visiting.
Exactly. We're drawn to imitate those who seem successful or high status. The Polar sisters, the chess prodigies, are a great example here, too.
How so?
Their father deliberately created a unique family culture entirely focused on chess. For them, spending hours practicing chess wasn't weird or obsessive.
It was normal. It was attractive because it was the standard set by the powerful figure, their father, and the norm within their close group, the family.
Precisely. Their intense habits were incredibly attractive to them because it was simply what their tribe did. It reinforces that powerful idea. If you want a habit to be attractive, join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior.
It really makes you ask, what is the normal behavior in my tribe? And can I choose my tribes more intentionally?
That's the actionable question, yeah.
Okay, beyond bundling and social norms, there's also reframing your mindset to make habits attractive. How does that work?
This is about changing how you think about a habit. Alan Carr's easy way to stop smoking is a classic example.
How does he reframe smoking?
He doesn't focus on the negatives of quitting, like deprivation. Instead, he systematically dismantles the perceived benefits of smoking. He argues smokers aren't giving anything up because cigarettes actually do nothing positive for them.
So he makes smoking itself seem unattractive.
Exactly, he reframes it. Smoking doesn't relieve stress, it causes it by creating withdrawal. You realize you're not quitting something good, you're escaping something bad. By reframing it, the craving diminishes because the act itself loses its appeal.
That makes sense. This works because craving is fundamentally a desire to change your internal state, right?
Right. If you can change the meaning you associate with a cue or a habit, you can change the craving itself.
I love this next idea he suggests. A simple language shift.
Yeah.
Changing your internal monologue from, I have to do something.
To I get to do it.
Yes. Instead of, I have to wake up early for work, reframe it as, I get to wake up early for work.
Or I have to go for a run becomes I get to build my endurance.
I have to cook dinner for my family becomes,
Yeah.
I get to provide a nourishing meal for the people I love. It's such a powerful shift in perspective, highlighting the privilege and opportunity inherent in the action.
It really is. And you can take it further by explicitly highlighting the benefits of a habit to yourself, rather than the drawbacks.
How would that sound?
Well, instead of viewing exercise as tiring or a chore, reframe it as, I get to build skills, strength, and vitality. Saving money isn't sacrifice, it's building future freedom and financial security.
Even things like meditation.
Yeah.
The distractions aren't failures.
Right. Distractions during meditation become opportunities to practice returning to my breath rather than frustrations.
Yeah.
You reframe the challenge as part of the benefit.
Okay, one last technique under make it attractive. Creating motivation rituals. What are these?
This is basically doing something you enjoy immediately before a difficult or challenging habit. It helps associate the difficult habit with a positive feeling.
Like a little pre-game routine?
Exactly. He mentions Ed Lattimore, a boxer and writer, who found his focus for writing dramatically improved just by putting on his headphones before he started writing.
Even if there was no music playing.
Sometimes even without music. The ritual itself became a powerful cue that shifted his mindset into focus mode.
Or like my own pre-game baseball ritual back in the day, specific stretches, tapping the bat. It absolutely got me into game mode before stepping up to the plate.
It's the same principle. You train yourself to associate a specific, enjoyable, or at least neutral routine with the state of mind needed for the harder task that follows.
So you could even design one, right? Like taking 3 deep breaths and smiling.
Immediately before you do something pleasant, like petting your dog or having your morning coffee.
And over time.
Over time, that simple breathing and smiling routine becomes associated with that pleasant feeling. The ritual itself becomes attractive, and you can then use it as a primer before a habit you find less attractive, like making sales calls or tackling a tough project. You borrow the good feeling.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot today from the first part of Atomic Habits. We dove into the surprising power of those tiny 1% changes.
Yeah, how they compound over time, the British cycling example, the math.
And why your trajectory, your system, matters so much more than your current results or your big goals. The valley of disappointment is real, but breakthroughs happen.
Then we explored how your habits shape your very identity And maybe more importantly, how focusing on who you want to become is the real key to lasting change. Every action is a vote.
Right. And then we laid out the foundational framework of the 4 laws of behavior change.
Cue, craving, response, reward.
And we dug into the first 2 laws, make it obvious.
Using things like the habit scorecard, pointing and calling, designing your environment, and making bad cues invisible.
And make it attractive.
Leveraging temptation bundling, the power of social norms, the close, the many, the powerful, and reframing your mindset with things like get to versus have to, and motivation rituals.
It's truly all about building those small foundational blocks, making the start of the habit loop work for you, not against you.
Absolutely. Get the cues right, get the craving right, and you're well on your way.
So next time, we'll continue our deep dive into atomic habits by exploring the remaining 2 laws. Make it easy and make it satisfying.
Which are just as crucial for making those habits stick long term. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Be sure to follow or subscribe to Book Bites from the Pizza Prosperous Life PPL channel so you don't miss the next part of our series on atomic habits.